Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today about website compliance and GDPR. Really happy that you all have joined us today. Let's go ahead and jump to the next slide. Just a quick introduction. My name is Russ Jeffrey. I'm kind of your moderator and demoer today for our webinar. I'm the Director of Strategic Integrations at Duda. I've worked very closely with our partners, Uberall, as part of the integration of their product into the Duda system. So I'm really happy to have them on board. Today, joined with me here is Hannah. Hannah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Hannah. I'm responsible for strategic partnerships at Usercentrics and super happy to be part of the Duda integration as well, and looking forward to give you a nice overview on GDPR and website compliance for the next couple of minutes, and then obviously looking forward to the live demo as well.
Great. Let's jump over to the agenda here. So today, what we have covered here is we're going to give you a little introduction to who Usercentrics is, kind of a little overview of GDPR and consent management and how Usercentrics helps solve these problems. We're going to give you a quick kind of overview of the benefits of why you want to leverage Usercentrics as part of your site builds and why it's important for you as an agency and for your clients. I'll jump in and I'll actually give a demo of the integration and discuss how this is working. And then we will have time at the end for Q&A. So if you want to ask a question at any point, we will try and answer these throughout the entire presentation. We do have a few folks from Duda answering questions, but we'll also have time at the end for live Q&A as well to answer those too. A little bit of housekeeping. So we are recording this webinar and we will send it out after to anyone who's registered. So if you have to leave early or you want to kind of get the full picture and watch it again later, that will be sent out as well. So with all of that being said, I'm going to hand this over to Hannah and let her kind of give an overview of Usercentrics and take it away. So Hannah, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Russ, and thank you everyone for joining today. I'm looking forward to have you all on the call. So like I said, my name is Hannah. I'm responsible for the strategic partnerships at Usercentrics. And for the next couple of minutes, I would like to give you a brief overview on who we are at Usercentrics and what we actually do. So we've been founded almost 3 years ago now, currently about 70 people, massively growing. Our office is based headquarter in Munich, but have people in Portugal, the US and UK, still growing. What we do is actually enabling companies to harmonize their marketing strategy and data strategy with the legal requirements out there. I think all of you have heard of GDPR, have been fighting with GDPR, and we're there to basically give you a solution to bring both parts into harmony and basically make a competitive advantage out of it. You can see a couple of customers here on the slide that trust our software. Obviously, I think currently we're about 40,000 domains that are using Usercentrics, also in the long-term market, potentially also your client base. Also, we're working with a lot of strategic partners, which is also my job. Apart from Duda and other technical integrations that we're doing, we're working very closely with agencies and strategic expert partners, also being concentrated on the topics all around legal and GDPR in order to develop the best product in place. Let's take a step back and have a look at what GDPR actually is, what consent management is, what we do at Usercentrics, and how that all comes together into the integration at Duda. We think that the website is the compliance risk #1. Why is that? It's because everyone that visits the website can detect and document breaches on your website super easily and within seconds, and can even super easily provoke a warning. If we compare that, for instance, with some kind of offline services or other, let's say, parts of GDPR, it is a lot harder to detect breaches in an offline doctor's practice, for instance, whereas on a website, you don't even necessarily need a lot of technical knowledge to see while visiting a page for the first time, that specific third-party requests are being made. And this is exactly what we need to solve in order to make you safe and make your customers safe when implementing a website or using a website in future, right? So GDPR basically says that for any web technologies, including cookies, including pixel, including fingerprints, you need a legal basis. And the reason for that is that those kind of web technologies process and collect personal data. Personal data does not necessarily have to be an email address or a specific name. Even an IP address does already have a part of a personal data. And what I like to address here is a specific example that if we would imagine not having this online training, but a training in person, if we would not have the Corona pandemic, I would be on a stage and there would be a person sitting in the front row, and I would refer to this person as this lady with a green hoodie. And without anyone knowing her name or her email address, we would all know what person I'm talking to. And that basically makes it very clear that even just a specific characteristic, like a personal characteristic, can already be very personal. And that's kind of a simple comparison when we talk about an IP address, for instance, when people ask themselves, yeah, but an IP address is not really personal data, but in fact it is. And in fact, for that, you need a legal basis, which we've seen for the last 2.5 years is in most cases consent. Some of you might remember or do also know the alternative, which is legitimate interest. And in some kind of states and some kind of countries, that is still slightly more acceptable. But we've seen that the shift is really, really strongly towards consent. So when you now know that you're using web technologies with which you're processing personal data, so you need consent, it even gets a little bit more complex. Because what you need to consider is the legal requirements in order to obtain a correct consent. And I love that slide because it makes it very clear of what needs to be considered when implementing consent strategy and consent management platform. So consent being obtained needs to be given freely, it needs to be informed, it needs to be granular, it needs to be explicit, prior, easy to opt out, and documented. So most of those things are very much straightforward, right? Freely, so the website needs to be able to use by the user even without consent. Informed, so all the data purposes and the data which is collected by those technologies need to be transparently informed to the customer. It needs to be granular, so a customer needs to get the chance to opt into Google, for instance, whereas they would like to opt out to Facebook or the other way around. It needs to be explicit, so there needs to be an explicit active action for the opt-in. It needs to be prior, so when the user visits the website for the first time, you are not allowed to just track the user without that consent. Easy to opt out means that there needs to be a specific way, whether it's a button or a link or whatsoever, we'll get to that later in the demo as well, for the user to change their preferences at a later point of time. And last but not least, it needs to be documented. So you need to have proof that your website visitors have given consent at a certain point of time in case they would want to know or in case a legal authority would want to know. Obviously, Usercentrics provides all that. Also, Duda now provides all that for you to make it easy and to have a very easy way to consider this topic and make your website compliant as it needs to be. What we do see now, though, is that not only legal authorities and the law is enforcing consent, but also tech companies and tech players in the market are becoming more strict to that topic. So we've seen that Google, Facebook, but also specific standards such as the Internet Advertising Bureau are enforcing consent of their clients and partners. The funny fact or fun fact about it is that it's not necessarily something new. They have it on their privacy policy and in their policy since day one when GDPR was introduced. What is different now today is though that they are more strictly enforcing it. So they're proactively checking and looking at websites of whether consent has been obtained in a legally compliant way or not, and also proactively contact those website providers. So it gets more and more important for any website provider and website owner to really deal with this topic in order to be sure to use data and in future, and to use marketing activities in a way that it has been used in the past. And another thing that I like to draw out is that we've seen a real shift here from the more data, the better, the more successful a company is, towards this privacy age and data protection age, whereas it's very crucial to have a specific content management strategy in place, and with that strategy, optimize the latter. So you have clean data and consented data, and instead of unconsented data, which is not being able to be used in future, right? So it can really be a competitive advantage to make this use and to optimize the content strategy in a sense. It all might sound complicated and complex. In fact, it's not when you use the right provider. This is just a simplified graph where it shows that when a data subject visits a website, they have then the chance to obtain consent or give consent in a legally compliant way, which is then documented, stored, potentially transferred to third-party systems and providers. So you can really go back and focus on your core business again. So that's all done for you. What we do also see is that apart from GDPR, with which it all started, that privacy is a legal trend. And I've just mentioned it, that it's not about only data monetization, clean data. It is really like a global trend when we talk about privacy and data protection. We've seen it in the discussions with the Corona pandemic, when we were discussing about tracing and tracking apps. And we've seen that when we really analyze the answers of people, that data protection and the reluctancy of really providing data for specific purposes is gaining importance. So this is a global trend, and you can act now and therefore get your competitive advantage. The important part of it is that we're using a technology that is future-proof, legislation agnostic, meaning that other laws and regulations that are being introduced, such as CCPA, for instance, but others to follow, are really also being taken into consideration in this technology. It needs to be technology agnostic, so it can be also transport or integrated into third-party systems and into additional systems that you might use, and that it's agile. Because what we also see is that there's no one standard, there's no one right or wrong. It is really still something that everyone is looking for their place in the market. There's a lot of gray zones when you interpret the law and what can be done and what cannot be done. So it's important that you act in an agile way, that you find your content strategy, but have a software that you can super easily adjust when it's needed. And that leads me basically to the benefits that we have implemented in the Duda platform, which is specifically very time-saving and super easy to implement, where we have integrated a lot of automations in terms of the detections of the technologies being used on the website, the way they are categorized, and the way the tool itself is being published. Russ will give you a sneak peek in a second. Also, currently we're working on a business version, which will include further features such as adjustable categories, so you can choose and select specific categories that you want to use. We will add further languages, so also here you have the international scope and can use the content management platform also for your international domains, and obviously specific design options, which again will be crucial for you to improve your opt-in rates and optimize the opt-in rates, right? Additionally, we obviously also want to focus on the legal aspect, on the future, let's say, laws that are being introduced. So there will be a lot of flexibility and time saving in terms of a privacy policy generator on specific legislations that we will offer, in that case more specifically CCPA and IAB. There will be reportings and marketing dashboards for you also to get an idea on how you perform and where you maybe have some space for improvement still. So what's in it for you? Why should you as a partner really, let's say, push this and really like offer this to clients? And the answer is pretty simple. So the benefits that you have is the compatibility to your core products. So it's crucial that apart from the core products that you're offering in terms of website building, in terms of website optimization, in terms of marketing analytics and so forth, it is crucial to have a solution that is really triggering the data protection point and the privacy point, and that will be very compatible with your core products. The second point is trust. I've briefly mentioned it when we were looking at the surveys with the corona pandemic and the data protection and how much personal data would people be willing to give and convey. And trust and the fact that you're dealing with this topic will give you trust as a partner and will also give your customers trust with their end clients, and therefore can really be a boost for the brand value and also the image of the customer itself, right? So you can really act as a trusted advisor here. And last but not least, and super important, is the third thing that I've mentioned a couple of times, clean data, which will be the only data able to be used in future. So really make sure that you gather and obtain this clean data now, better now than later. And the other side of the sword is the protection against risks, right? So there's not only the benefits, but there's really also the side where you can really protect yourself from fines, potential fines that we all have heard to it, fines related to GDPR, fines related to CCPA. The second part of it is securing advertising revenue, which is kind of related or very closely related to this clean data part. So if you have less data, obviously you can do less marketing, you will have less advertising revenues therefore. So it will really secure your advertising revenues. And last but not least, data ownership, really prove and improve the processes, the data ownership of your products and also your clients' websites and products, really to be the safeguard in here. And with that, I would say let's jump into the demo and have a look at it, how it looks like, and then also maybe give you a sneak preview later on the business solution. And feel free to ask any questions at any point of time, obviously.
Great, thank you, Hannah. I'm gonna jump in and take over the screen here.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So what I'll do, guys, is I'm just gonna give you a quick demo of what this integration looks like inside of Duda. One thing you'll notice here is I've built a new website. I've included a YouTube video as part of it, or any kind of technologies that are also in the background. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and actually install the Usercentrics app in real time and show you what's going on here. So I'll navigate over to the App Store, and we'll see Usercentrics is here available for me to select. I can come and just go ahead and click Add. We're going to confirm that you want to add that to your site and you're agreeing to kind of the terms and privacy conditions. Then we're going to go and install it. And what we're doing at this point is we're saying, hey, Usercentrics, this website wants to use your service. Let's go ahead and set them up with an account. Let's get started on their path towards GDPR compliance and kind of privacy in general. So once I've gone and added it to my website directly, we now have a little onboarding wizard which will follow. So this is just saying, great, you're signed up for Usercentrics. Let's go ahead and get started. The first step here is actually Usercentrics crawling the website and identifying all of the technologies that are used within the website itself. So Usercentrics has a list of, I think it's over 1,000 different tracking technologies which they identify and they find within the website itself. And then they give you a little report that says, okay, great, here are the technologies that they've found on the website itself. Some of these are native to Duda technologies. Some of these are things you might have included in the website directly. So you can see that site analytics and site personalization, those are Duda's analytics and Duda's personalization tools which exist. We also install Google Analytics, there's Google Web Fonts. I had that YouTube video, if you remember a minute ago. There's a social plugin on this website as well. You can see Usercentrics is finding all of these third-party technologies so that they can be listed and shown in a transparent way to visitors with it who come to visit the website directly. So I'm going to go ahead and just say, great, I confirm that this is set up. Now I'm within the control panel of Usercentrics, and I can set all of my different options that I want. One thing that's required is the data controller. This is the person who is responsible, usually the DPO or the data protection officer, who's the person kind of responsible for all of this. In this example, I'm just going to put, Russ, because I'm giving the demo here, but this could be yourself, or it could be, someone at the company directly who is responsible for this. I can come and add some additional languages. So the free version supports up to 2 languages, English and then a second language. So if I want, I could add in German or Spanish or whatever language I think is necessary there. And then I have some configurations for the design. And finally, down here at the bottom, we also do have options to say, great, I want to recategorize the existing technologies which we found. And so all of these are available, and you can come and make changes to that. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And let's actually go and look at how this looks on the actual website once visitors come directly to it. So I'm just going to go and preview. And what you'll see here is, first of all, that YouTube video, which I had within the site, is being blocked from loading. That is because YouTube is a tracking technology. So Usercentrics identifies it and says, hey, we're not going to allow this to load until the user has consented in to tracking for that. Now, I can come and accept. That'll load the YouTube video and the user can then go and use it. If I want, as a site visitor, I can also dig in further and say, great, I want to actually go and look at the specific services that are used. And I can enable or disable specific ones. So if I did want to enable just YouTube, I could say, great, I approve to just YouTube in this case. And that would go and enable just the YouTube video on the site itself. So as a site visitor, I have granular control over the individual technologies which are used within the website directly there. In this case, I'll just go ahead and click accept all. That'll load the video and any other technologies in the background, and I can continue to use the site directly. We now do have the banner where as a visitor, I can come and see all of the technologies, so I can know what I've consented into and how they're categorized and how they fit. If I want to come and change that later, I can come and do that or not. That is actually a really quick demo of the integration within Duda. Hannah, is there anything I missed? Anything you think I should cover there?
I think that looks good. I mean, the whole idea about it is that it's super easy and fast, right? So you made that point clear.
And we're done, right? Like at this point, we're fulfilling our GDPR requirements by having this leverage on top of the website. We're using that consent first approach to any type of tracking, and users need to opt in to being tracked in the first place. So great. So with that said, what I want to do quickly is I'm going to hop back over to our presentation quickly. And we just want to show the plans of what will be available on the business package. So the business package is not available yet. It'll be available either next week or the week after. We're very close to launching this. But what you'll notice is you're just going to get a lot of extra flexibility from a design perspective and a control perspective over the CMP itself. So the business package is going to cost $10 a month. And you'll have more control over the design. You can add additional categories. So right now we only have 3 categories, which are essential, functional, and marketing. But you could add one maybe for social or add one specifically for analytics. If you want to be more granular, you can add those different types of categories in as well. One of the things we're also going to be doing is one of the biggest actually pieces of feedback is people want to be able to hide the thumbprint or the icon. So we're going to have an option to hide that. And then you can just embed a link maybe in the footer to open the privacy pop-up over the site itself instead of having the floating widget as well. So those are type of things which you can come and control and will have control over from a design perspective as well. Hannah mentioned this earlier, we'll have multi-language support up to 35 different languages as well as part of the different options. So the business package is coming. It'll probably be here within the next week or two. We're just finalizing details and doing our last minute kind of QA, and we'll have that ready for you guys. And with that being said, that is our presentation today. So we do want to start getting into some questions. If you guys have questions, I see there's a few of them already ready to go, and we'll dive in. So please feel free to ask from this. Great. So the first one is I'm going to pose this to you, Hannah, and I'll jump in after. Is from Sarvi is how do you monetize this? How do you sell this on top of a website?
Yeah. So monetize in a way that we're offering it to Duda, or what exactly do you mean?
I think what they're asking is how, you know, when I build a site for my clients, how can I use this as, you know, an additional, you know, line item or service that I'm offering in my toolkit? Yeah.
Yeah. So look, in general, it's kind of related to the things that I've said before. So depending on what you're offering to your clients, right? Whether it's some kind of website optimization, whether it's some kind of analytics reportings that you're doing, some kind of remarketing, marketing initiatives that you're driving, the important part of it is that without offering those things being GDPR compliant, it will get very difficult. So what our partners usually do is that they offer the implementation of a content management platform with their current offerings and just add it to their services, including the implementation and the maintenance of it, which makes it very attractive to our partners. So the one thing is that you as the provider, as the partner, can offer something that's super safe to the customer, that it's complementary to the products that you're offering anyways. On top of it, obviously, you would have the implementation benefit of it, the maintenance benefit of it, the optimization benefit of it, especially now with the business package coming. What a lot of partners of ours is doing is that there's like a one-time fee for the implementation that you do, for the setup, which you've seen is very easy. And then obviously there's this whole part of it of optimizing the letter, making sure that you really have the highest opt-in rates possible, that you try a little bit with the design options that you have. So that's something that you can obviously trigger and offer to your clients in order to take over that service and implement it for your clients.
Right. And Sarvi did have a follow-up here, Hannah, and he said, to be clear, how do I get the client to pay me before installing or upgrading? So this is also, it's kind of the second part of the question is how do we just manage it from like a Duda perspective? And so the quick answer is that when you give your clients access to Duda, we will allow them to, first of all, you have control from a permission perspective to say, yes, they can install free applications, or no, they can't install free applications. If you don't give them access, they won't see the App Store at all, and they won't get the options to manage that. If you do give them access, they'll only be able to install the free version. Duda won't present any pricing for the paid version, and they won't be able to upgrade to a paid version. So only you would be able to kind of trigger that upsell and that paid plan. So you're going to want to charge your clients outside of Duda, and then just upgrade and leverage Usercentrics on your own within the Duda platform and purchase that directly. So you have control over what that experience is and whether you are giving them access or whether you're not giving them access. That's up to you from an implementation perspective. Great. The next question from Mathis is the Dutch language supported? Hannah, I assume the answer is yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Cool. The next question that came in is from Raj. Is there was a link to the privacy page. Was that the default Duda privacy page? Yeah, I can answer this. So within Duda, we have the option to add a privacy page to the site. You can just turn it on, and Duda gives you some default privacy language that you can use and edit and kind of take to be your own. So Raj, yeah, we do have like within Usercentrics, we link to the private /privacy page by default, which should align with the privacy setting in Duda, but you might change that URL, and so you'd also want to change that URL of where that privacy links to within the website directly. So if for some reason you have a different privacy URL, you can change that within Usercentrics as well to change where it links to. You just want to make sure that they're connected. Great. The next question is how about the EU version US Privacy Shield that is no longer valid? So this is from Mathis, kind of asking the question, now that Privacy Shield has basically been placed as defunct, kind of how are our corporations supposed to manage kind of this privacy aspect related to compliance? Hannah, do you have any recommendations here? This is kind of outside of the scope a little bit of Usercentrics, but I don't know if you have any thoughts there.
Yeah, so I do have thoughts in terms of, obviously we've been also taking a lot of time of reading this court ruling and getting into this topic of the Privacy Shield. What we've done, the actions that we've taken is that first of all, we make sure that the data that we are basically processing in order to obtain consent is only being processed in the EU. So our servers are based in the EU. We have subcontracts with Google. We're using Google Cloud for that storage. Furthermore, what we've done, I think, Rusty, you've shown it briefly. What we do at Usercentrics is we maintain the templates for the data processing services. For each kind of technologies, we have like all the legal information that you need to display in order to obtain an informed consent of your users. And what we've done is we've had a look at all these technologies that we support, in that case also Google, and made sure that all the relevant information related to the Privacy Shield is in there, obviously, right? And that's not only related to the Privacy Shield that has had a huge effect lately, but also for future changes. That's what I meant with having an agile technology. If there's any changes towards the legal aspect or the technical aspect of it, obviously we'll make sure that we push that also into the Duda version of the product in order for you to have like the latest updates and to comply with any potential changes from a legal perspective. If there's more question to that one, specifically to the Privacy Shield and the consequences of it, feel free to shoot us a message directly, and we can also connect you with our legal department for the chat there.
Yeah, Hannah, you just hit on a really important part that I would just want to highlight is the fact that it's kind of like a long-term solution, right? One of the problems with really managing privacy and a lot of these trackers is that they change over time. So YouTube in the future might add an additional tracking technology to their list of, hey, we load this other tool set, or SoundCloud is actually famous for this, where when you add SoundCloud, they also embed 5, 10, 15 different tracking technologies in the background just by adding one little SoundCloud, embed into the website directly. And so Usercentrics keeps themselves up to date. If SoundCloud changes that list of, kind of child trackers that they have, they will update that and essentially include that as part of the things that they block by default going forward. So, 6 months from now, a year from now, you don't need to be worried about, some of these changes down the line, because this is part of the value that Usercentrics is providing back in to you guys, is that they manage that process in the long term. So I just want to re-highlight that because it is important. Yeah. Great. Cool. The next question here is Raj is asking, is there any connection / link with this in the site terms and conditions, as all these things can affect privacy? So Raj, we allow you, actually, if you look here, there's 2 links. One is the privacy and one is like the imprint page, which within the app itself you can link. So actually, if I go back and look within the settings of Usercentrics, we have basically a way to say, great, here's the privacy URL and here's the imprint URL of where those link to within the website directly. So you could implement that and link to the privacy page. There's no terms because there's not like a service you're signing up for. It's just a standard website visit. But you could include the terms, a link to the terms as part of the privacy page as well, if you wanted to. Sarvi is asking, our clients have direct access to the admin, so when they click install / upgrade, can I send them to a payment page? So the short answer is not easily today. This is something we're looking at implementing on the Duda side from an upgrade perspective, so we can link outside to the payment process. But we don't have that capability today. If you did want to sell this outside of Duda and kind of charge for it as like a standalone service, we do have some APIs that allow that. If you want to say, great, I want to install this, I want to install the business plan by this customer who purchased. We do have some APIs that allow that, but you should reach out to the Duda team to discuss that, because it does require a specific account plan from the Duda side. Great. The next question from Michael, is the fee $10 per website? Yes, that is correct. Each website would have its own $10 a month subscription for the business plan itself. Great. The next question is, please let everyone know that they're able to modify the font colors for Usercentrics to view within the global H3. So this was an issue I encountered and was informed by Duda support. So what Eureka's saying here is that you can actually, within the Duda editor, the Usercentrics banner will inherit the global font styles from the H3 here. So if you go to the H3 and say, great, I want this to be a slightly different font or a slightly different size, it'll inherit from the H3 settings as well. So you can go and set that up. Great. Hannah, one question just came in from Raj, and I'll point it to you here. Is Raj, I know he's based in the UK. He says he's not familiar with the imprint term. Can you give a quick explanation of what the imprint is used for?
So the imprint normally is used for like general information on the company. So you have the address, you have the owner, you have the legal entity of the company. So basically the imprint is like all the contact information, the address and everything you would find with specific details on the company, on the data controller, so to say.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's there in the first banner is that there is specific authorities that have requested that the link to the imprint and the privacy policy should be very visible at any point of time, because it also conveys specific information that might legally be relevant for the website visitor.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you see this a lot. You see also on a lot of sites that are also kind of multi-language with both English and German. They have like what's called an impressum page, which is also the similar. It's the same idea there, which is just documenting the legal entity, the address, that type of information. Yeah.
Exactly.
Great. Any other questions? Looks like we're running out of questions here. We have a few more minutes if you guys want to hang out, or we can wrap up here.
I think there was one more that we skipped, whether there would be marketing material. Yes. I think there is, and there will be.
Yes. Yes. So on the Duda side, we are working on kind of like a white label material that will have kind of like a 1 or 2 page PDF that you can download and use and kind of present what the Usercentrics solution is and how it works. If you have any ideas of what would be helpful, let us know. Reach out to me. My email is just russ@duda.co. Tell me what would be helpful for you, so we can kind of work and create that content and share it with the rest of the Duda community as well. So.
Totally agree.
Cool. That looks like all of the questions that we have today. So we will go ahead and wrap up the webinar. Hannah, I want to say thank you for participating here and giving a lot of great information. Thanks for being a good partner to Duda and our customers as well. And so I'm very appreciative of it. Don't know if you want to
just give that back. Thanks for letting me be part of this. It was great to be here. Also, thanks for everyone listening in and taking the time. If there's any questions afterwards, feel free to contact Russ or me. So we'll make sure you have everything you need. And I'm looking forward for further cooperation and to getting the business package started. Super excited.
Yes. Great, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.